On Dry Grasses is the definition of a festival movie, mostly because it starts with somebody walking through an open, desolate field very slowly. Its director is famous for 3+ hour films that document the kind of broken psyche of the individual in the Turkish countryside. So there's something a little bit intimidating when you go into one of these. But man, I loved his last movie, The Wild Pear Tree. I found it dynamic, engaging, and kind of in a different mode than the other film, Winter Sleep, which was mostly kind of a slow movie about an individual kind of losing himself and facing who he really wants to be. Then again, the movie that I just watched is kind of a return to that form, that it's again about a lowly individual, in this case a teacher, who's been working at an in the middle of nowhere school for 4 years and wants nothing more than to move. But when a relationship that he has with one of his younger female students comes to light, things get a little bit more complicated. Based on that synopsis, you may think what the movie is. And it's not really that. What it is more of a psychological study of why a human being thinks that they're better than other people, why they make bad decisions, and all the little things that kind of destroy someone's life just because of the little grievances that kind of drive our day-to-day. I was a little disappointed that it didn't have that kind of dynamism that I saw in The Wild Pear Tree, but it does have that beautiful eye for composition. The majority of the movie, except for a little part, takes place during a huge snowfall where snow is basically pouring down in every shot, just capturing the isolation of these characters, specifically the main guy, who you realize as the movie plays on is definitely not a sympathetic figure in a conventional sense, because he ends up so petty and self-absorbed, but there's still something like distinctly human in the things that he does. And by the end of the film, when he's giving the big monologue, kind of summing everything up at the end of the 3 hours and change, you're like, boy, he did not take any of the right lessons from the movie that we just watched. But as outside viewers, we get a completely different perspective on the events that he witnesses. It's a quiet film. It's also one that, like, the layers peel away and there's only a small cast of characters, but they're all complex in their own way, and it's fascinating to see which direction the movie goes. As the protagonist gets like kind of more and more selfish, you realize that it's really the ensemble cast that have their own existence, that are showing the way that they act in life, that makes it truly compelling. I love the way that, like, his personality was underlined by things that he noticed. It's things that is discussed, acts of kindness, selfishness. What does it mean to be a human being? Sometimes literalized in kind of political dialogue, but then is visualized in fascinating ways throughout the movie. The films of this director, like, he kind of wants you to not only pay a lot of attention, but then watch them again, because he layers them in so much detail, even though it's just kind of like barren landscapes, but the emotion just kind of bubbles right out of it, even though there's not any like big climactic blowout or moment of violence that you would expect from something like this. I should also note that these movies are very dryly funny, that, like, even though it's dealing with kind of serious stuff, there's always like a little joke or a little aside to really sell it. It's a movie that, like, nothing super dramatic happens in it. There's a lot of long conversations, but I found all of them incredibly compelling as it played. And by the end, even though it has one of those kind of wrap-ups where you go, wait, is it done now? Is it done now? Oh wait, is it done now? It still ended up wrapping exactly where it needed to be. I remember when Winter Sleep was winning all of these awards, there was kind of like the intimidating factor of, oh wow, it's this long? And the same feeling goes with this new one, but it's worth it. It definitely presents something that you won't get in any other conventional cinema, and that's why it is a festival movie. Man, it is really hard to record these videos when school lets out, because there are a lot of people giving me sidelong glances as a grown man walks down the street talking about a film that he saw at a film festival.